This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
You're listening to WSTU Stewart.
Well, a very pleasant good evening. Time for Startup Talk from Indian River State College, now in year 3 on WPSL and WSTU with Mr. Tom Kindred.
Thank you, sir, and welcome to another segment and installment of Startup Talk, the show designed to assist and help Treasure and Research Coast residents who want to start, grow, or accelerate their business. As I always say, what a great place it is to own and operate a business along the beautiful Research and Treasure Coast. We will spend time during our hour together tonight to highlight and create awareness regarding the very powerful and robust business assistance programs that exist right here in our community at our very own Indian River State College. I am Tom Kindred, and I serve as the Regional Director for the Small Business Development Center here at IRSC. Underwriters for this segment of Startup Talk are the Florida Small Business Development Center at Indian River State College, engaged at every stage of enterprise, the Small Business Development Center at IRSC, and our friends at Express Printing of Port St. Lucie. So, Greg, how are you?
Doing well.
Everything good in the radio world?
Yeah, we're kind of looking ahead to the fall, so I work about 6 months ahead in the sports schedule.
Right.
So I'm waiting for the IRSC basketball schedule.
We're kind of down now. We're kind of in downtime right now, I guess. With
softball team's going to be going to the playoffs again.
Okay, nice.
Which is normal for IRSC.
Normal for IRSC.
Yeah.
And where will those take place this year?
Good question. I'm not sure. Center of the state somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And they did well last year, I think, when they went.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, coach done a great job.
All right. And things again, we're still high tech here at WPSL. You can we've been talking about how you can access now WPSL, all kinds of new channels.
Yeah, safe. My phone is not here. Just go, hey Google, play WPSL, and
right.
it'll kick on. And then, of course, Echo and Alexa as well. So, and by the way, the stats, broadcast convention this week, stats for just those three, of course, they call them, appliances now.
Right.
That's what they're calling those things. Up 13%. It's almost 8 or 9% per month. And because they were all introduced around January. So, yeah, it's phenomenal stats. And, and there's, 480 of us up right now around the world? Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
and I want to mention, too, while we're kind of talking about technology and things, we actually, when the show is live here in the studio, which we are pretty much all the time, but when the show is live in the studio.
What's your definition of live?
Well, it's live and not Memorex, but we're also filming these shows. And you can access these shows through the WPSL YouTube channel.
Yes, WPSL TV.
WPSL TV.
On YouTube, yep,
right.
You got it.
So if you ever if you hear some great information, which it's always great information here on Startup Talk about business and entrepreneurship, you can always go back and look at the shows and replay the shows and download the shows at WPSL TV or actually the website and click on the archives. Is that correct?
I think that's close. Just go to YouTube.
Just go to YouTube. Don't even have to go to the website.
And what was very interesting, I thought, during the basketball playoffs, when we were in the basketball playoffs,
right?
The National Association that was putting on the playoffs had WPSL TV on their website, which I thought was wild. I mean, that was incredible.
Well,
it
is kind of funny because when guests come into the studio, they think this is a radio show and they don't realize that we're also filming the show too. So sometimes they get a little surprised. But our guests tonight are not surprised. They're prepared for TV and radio. So that's right.
And could both work in television.
That's right. And could both work in television.
And we are live and alive.
As everyone knows, our little Startup Talk radio show here is dedicated to providing information regarding the Treasure Coast Marketplace and all the business assistance programs and events that are happening in our area. So tonight, is no exception. We've got some local entrepreneurs that have done some great work in the area of entrepreneurship and owned and operated their own businesses, continue to own and operate their own businesses along the Treasure Coast. And they also, one of the things that these two young ladies do is they own and operate and conduct the Treasure Coast Business Summit. The event has been taking place in our area for 11, 12 years.
This is the 10th anniversary.
10th anniversary. Nice.
Overnight success.
10th years. And so we have with us tonight to talk about that upcoming business summit. We've got summit producers Dana Trabulsy and Lynette Marraffh. Did I get all that right?
You did.
Yep. Welcome to the show again, ladies. And it's just hard for me to believe that you were here a year ago.
I know. It's gone by fast.
Yeah, what did we all accomplish last year?
It was a hurricane. That's what it is.
Yeah, well, there was a hurricane. I had a couple distractions last year, so yeah, it was quite the year. But it has. It's been a year, right? You hold the summit is about the same time every year.
It is.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get started. I want to start, obviously, with the two of you because both of you are accomplished and experienced entrepreneurs. So start us again. We can start all the way to the far end of the table. We'll start with you, Dana. Give us a little of your business background and your pathway through entrepreneurship and your pathway to the Business Summit.
Well, just like every path, mine's been a little wiggly, a little messy along the way.
As I told Dr. Massey years ago, I said, entrepreneurship's messy, Dr. Massey. I hope you're prepared for this. So.
It is, and I've gotten off the beaten path here and there, owned a couple of businesses along the way, really gained some momentum when I was fortunate enough to work with Panera Bread and Cavelli Enterprises in their marketing and public relations department, and then decided to just jump off the cliff and start All Things Treasure Coast, which is, I'm proud to say, I would think the best events calendar, local resource guide, and business directory on the Treasure Coast. And I think my analytics would say the same.
I'm going to agree with that.
Thank you.
I like it. It keeps me up to date.
I'm glad.
We don't have a paper anymore. You're right.
Well, that's right.
Don't let the paper.
Don't listen. Don't be talking bad about the paper.
Don't let the paper hear this.
So, Lynette, how about your pathway into all of this?
So my path was a bit more direct. So after college, I decided to become an insurance professional as a litigation adjuster. And then my husband at the time had always had a passion for the entertainment industry, and that's actually how we met. And so when I looked at a life situational change, my passion became his passion. And so having a good working knowledge of running a business just from education and other experiences, I dove right into his passion, and we amped up our business, and it became a full-time business, a full-service business, and now we have 15 employees. We're the largest entertainment company here on the Treasure Coast with Trax Entertainment, and just more and more business comes through the door. Dana and I have been presented with an excellent opportunity with acquiring the Treasure Coast Business Summit, and new adventures keep coming our way. And so we're really embracing additional opportunities and looking to not only help other people grow their business, but also we have some other businesses coming our way in the near future as well.
All right. Again, we mentioned in the intro that the event's been going on 10 years now. Now the two of you have basically produced the show for the last 2 years.
This will be our second year.
This is the second year. All right. And prior to that, it was I think there was a local firm that used to put on the show, and
yes, it was Doug Farrell with DLF Media and Chris Mohart with the Ferris Group.
Okay. So again, let's talk about just kind of give us the high level view of the summit. What's it all about? Mission, purpose of the event.
So the mission of the Business Summit is to bring businesses together, all different kinds of businesses as far as small business, large business, medium-sized businesses, because if you look at the demographic and the dynamic of the Treasure Coast, we are still very much a growing community. And I just want to touch base quickly on the 10th anniversary is significant in the fact that 2008 was not a fantastic year for anyone's business. So whether you were in business for 30 years, or you were in business for just 1 year.
That would be correct, yes. That was not good for anybody.
It
certainly was not good for me. So.
No, it wasn't good for anyone's business. And so what we're doing with the 10th anniversary is really celebrating the growth of business. So we look at that 10-year milestone, and we've selected some businesses to highlight that have really pushed through and have been extraordinarily successful, making it through that time and making a difference in the community as well.
Yeah, no, you make a good point, and it really is kind of almost, again, looking back on that when we talked about just the last year, it's hard to believe it is 2018, and so we're really knocking on a decade since really the worst point in the recession.
There have been some businesses that have really just dug their heels in and decided that they were going to make it through and have forged through quite well.
Well, we've had a number of them on the show, and I've one of my favorite questions really to ask some local business people is talk to us about getting through the tough times and getting through the recession and what's your advice. So we've you're right. There's been some that did some really good work and in getting through.
Of course, and my follow-up question is, are you crazy? No.
Yes, is the answer.
Yeah. That's it. Sure, why not?
Why is the Business Summit kind of important to the community? What what kind of role does it play in the business community?
So the Business Summit is a unique event in that it brings businesses together. So it is a wholeheartedly B2B event. So it's a business-to-business event. And it's the only opportunity that we know of on the Treasure Coast that provides that unique opportunity, which features an expo. So businesses are there to exhibit their wares and their services, but also provides a summit piece, which is the educational component. And so oftentimes you see those two things managed separately in our community, and this is the only opportunity, or we feel it's a unique opportunity, to bring both of those components together, to make a full day of it, and to really provide an exceptional continuing education and exposition experience for these businesses.
You mentioned the educational portion. Can you kind of talk about some of the breakouts this year?
Sure. So we've been sponsored by the EDC, and we're just so excited to be partnered with them. And they are going to be bringing in 3 speakers for us. They're going to bring in We Venture, which is a women's organization that is dedicated to mentorship and helping to provide women entrepreneurs with resources. So they are in Brevard County and have moved their way down into our area, so we're excited to welcome them. Florida Virtual Entrepreneurship. I don't know if you've heard of them before, Tom.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, they're great. I went to... actually,
Michael, I think is his name.
Yep. It is, yes. We were there at the same meeting, and he presented, and it was a great opportunity. I took advantage of it and was able to put my profile on, and we have a once-a-month mentorship call, so that's a great resource that people are not familiar with. And then Florida Power and Light is also coming on their business side, which, again, the same workshop we attended together, I was blown away with what FP&L has to offer small businesses. It's incredible.
Well, yeah, and in fact, it's funny you bring that up too, because today I had a business school professor approach me at IRSC, and he said, Tom, are you aware of the website that FP&L has and the data and the analytics that they've got for small business? And I said, absolutely, we were aware of it. So it's an impressive site.
It is, and I think more people need to take advantage of that. Of course, along with that is the Sbdc, which you're involved with, and we just really want to bring to light all of the resources that are mostly free and 100% available to entrepreneurs in our entire Treasure Coast. Well,
we absolutely, and we share that that mission and that objective to. And that's something I've worked, on the last number of years, making sure that businesses know what's available out there to them in terms of resources. These programs will never do anybody any good if they don't know they're out there and they don't take advantage. So
absolutely, and it's a shame for businesses, and so many of them do fail because they don't know that they're there, and we really want to help bring that to light, and I think the Summit's a great place to highlight it.
Well, and again, I can speak certainly from experience. I sat for almost 20 years in my business and had no idea what was going on, in the community in terms of business assistance. Certainly didn't know what was happening at the college in terms of the Florida Sbdc and the power and nature of the program. But I'm telling you, I get it now, and I just want to make sure that others take advantage of it. So you're right. So
on a personal story, I remember at the Summit 3 years ago, I was just an attendee. You had a booth there. You were telling me about the Sbdc and what it had to offer, and I just started my business. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to call. Sure. He's my neighbor. Yeah, I'm going to call.
Right.
He's trying to sell me something I know. Right. And I called, and I ended up meeting with Jack, and who's no longer there, but awesome. And really got some great information. I've been able to attend some workshops and whatnot in between, so it's been a great resource for me. So I'm a testimony.
You've always been good, Dana. I look up out in the crowd, and there's Dana, and I think that. And I always, it's kind of funny. One of the things I love to tell people when I kind of open an event or something, I always thank people that are there, and I say I'm impressed because you're here, because you've taken the time, and we've all owned and still own small businesses and understand the time commitment. It is tough to get out of the office and make a commitment and leave for half a day or leave for a full day to go attend something. But, you've got to take that time to go out and get a little education and do some training and use programs like this. It just, it's important that businesses and business owners do that. And I'm always impressed when I see folks that do take the time and make the commitment to go out and use these resources.
It recharges your batteries too, because you leave feeling, okay, I got a sense of purpose now. I'm going to redirect.
Yeah, and I kind of always make the comment too, when you own and operate the business, and I'm sure the two of you are the same, but when the buck kind of stops with you, which it did with me for many years, the only person I could turn to was I went home, and of course, so I worked at the office for the 10, 12 hours a day, and then we went home, and Mary and I talked about the business for the next 4 or 5 hours. So there really wasn't anyone to turn to when you're in that kind of business operation. It's you, your spouse, your kids, and so I always tell people, the Sbdc is this opportunity for you to go to someone else outside the business, an objective opinion, talk about the business to someone else who doesn't live and breathe it every day, like we do.
Absolutely. I think having a third-party perspective refreshes your mind, refreshes your path, and can potentially expose you to some really intensely fantastic things that can be put in your path along the way for the future. 100%.
Yeah. So back to the summit real quick. Keynote speaker this year. I think you've always had a keynote. Who's your keynote this year?
Our keynote speaker this year is Peter W. Bush, and we are super excited to have him on board. He is going to tell some of his life stories and educate us a little bit about his family and how their small family business became large.
Yes.
So is he bringing a Clydesdale?
Well, you'll just have to come and see.
Ooh, hey.
I got your notification the other day. I think I saw where he was your keynote, and of course I had the great privilege and opportunity. One of my first jobs when I came home from college was working at Southern Eagle for a little while and working with Peter, and again, a great business mind, great business acumen, and always had a good time talking and interacting with Peter. So that's going to be a great addition to the show and to the summit, and I'm looking forward to that.
I am too. We sat down with him a few days ago and just going through his presentation, and I've known him for almost 20 years now,
right.
But oh my goodness, I left his office just blown away. Just a great human being, humble, giving, and full of charisma.
Absolutely. He's a business champion, but he's also heavily seated in the community, which I wasn't aware of how his life has been impacted through philanthropy and just giving so much to this community that I think needs to be recognized as well.
Yeah.
He's been a big supporter over the years, the WPSL Christmas Kids, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Very nice.
Yep.
You bet.
So we've got breakout sessions. We've got keynote speakers, and then, of course, a big part of the summit is your exhibitors, I guess.
Yes.
So, and I guess talk to us about the venue. Is it same place as last year? We're down at the Port St. Lucie Civic Center?
We are. The Civic Center, as you know, has grown intensely. There's been a shift in management there, and they have improved their customer service. The level of things that they're able to provide the community is impressive, and so we're really happy to partner with them again this year. And of course, the city of Port St. Lucie endorses the event historically, as they did again this year for the 10th anniversary. So we're very pleased with the facility. Now,
talk a little bit, again, you guys have always been, you're both very involved in and been heavily involved in with the IRSC School of Business. Talk a little bit about your collaboration efforts with the School of Business.
So with the School of Business, I've had 3 separate capstone groups, which have been amazing. What a wonderful experience. My first capstone group was when I started All Things Treasure Coast, and they put together a media plan for me. They put together a video for me. They've just been wonderful. And then last year, the 2 of us together had a capstone group that really helped get out into the community and spread the word about the Business Summit and help bring on sponsors. And one particular person in our group, you know who I'm talking about, he was a dynamo and ended up coming to the summit, working his tail off, got a job there, and is now head of social media for this company. So he's doing great.
Is he really? I didn't realize that.
He is killing it.
Yeah.
He is
That's
killing
great.
it.
What a good story.
Well,
yeah.
his name is David Staples.
Yes. I didn't know if you wanted me to mention
No,
names.
I don't see why not. He's out there in social media world. So, but David is just he was a dynamic kid, great student, and I'm assuming finished his degree. I think David's finished. He graduated.
Did, yes.
And so I got to work a little bit with David in the incubator. David had started a small business of his own as a student. So, David, quite an impressive young man. But
he had his mobile fitness, right?
Right. It's called Mobile Fit.
Mobile Fit.
Yep.
He's got a really
Absolutely.
cool story.
Yeah, it's a great story, and he really is a fine young man, and I've always thought a lot of David. But yes, I remember kind of David working with y'all, and you were quite taken and impressed with his enthusiasm about all that you were doing too.
He was great. I remember the first day, okay, we have to do a SWOT analysis, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. And
Man,
I'm like,
I
all
like
right.
it. Using all the right terms, all the right tactics. I love it. Nice.
He is great.
And so, but he is with you now with the company.
He's not with All Things Treasure Coast.
Oh.
He actually is working for the Ferris Group.
Oh,
And
okay.
they are a consulting firm, and he's part of the
Okay.
piece of their company now.
Right.
Okay. All right. Nice. And again, kind of talk to us about how did you get involved in that whole capstone project? How did you know about it, and how did you get engaged for others that might want to, get involved in that? The whole capstone project. Kind of describe what they did for you in detail.
Well, I can tell you that I got involved. The young lady that worked with me when I started All Things Treasure Coast, she had done a capstone group through Castle and just really raved about it. And they were able to do a lot of fine things with their organization.
So basically, you take your company in before the class. The class kind of, I think they break them up into small groups, and then the class actually does some really kind of hands-on work for your business, right? Create.
Completely hands-on. So it's
Right.
an entire semester. We've had, in all 3 of my capstone groups, there have been 4 people in the group, very diverse. We would meet sometimes once a week, sometimes a few times a week, give them
Nice.
objectives and goals, lots of constant communication, and we had benchmarks along the way.
Nice.
And then they presented at the end of the term, and that was their final grade, and they are phenomenal.
So again, kind of a trade-off too, kind of a win-win really for everyone. The students are getting real world experience because they're working with a real company. I mean, you're really functioning, you're out there, so they're getting that kind of real world experience, and you're getting kind of some fresh, objective look at what you're doing. Through the eyes of millennials, which is what we're all kind of interested in.
It was. They brought last year with the summit as their project. They brought some really innovative ideas that we couldn't just push the button on yet, but we are keeping those fantastic ideas in our safe and trusting that we can use those ideas in the very near future. So they were very innovative, very thoughtful with their approach and researching these ideas to bring to the table.
And they took it seriously.
They did.
They were motivated.
Well,
And they were very helpful for all of us as well.
Good.
I mean, whatever we needed, we had it. It was great.
Now you 2 young ladies are younger than I am, so you and obviously you're Dana, you especially, you're in the you're in the whole technology space and the social media space. That's your business. But when you did anything kind of strike you as new? Did you learn anything meeting with a group of millennials like that? Did they tell you things like, I never knew that. Were there any moments like that with it?
Oh, heck yeah. My second group that I had was basically, let's teach an old dog new tricks, because social media is changing every day. And I was the mom on Facebook, right? So I need to make it a business on Facebook. And there were a lot of different strategies and things that I had no idea. And of course, running a business, didn't have the time to educate myself on. And they literally put together a how-to social media for dummies, and it worked for me.
Wow.
And they handed it to me. They presented it to me as a book.
Wow. Nice.
That's great.
So talk a little bit about some of the things you actually do at the Business Summit. You've got some awards that you hand out. Talk a little bit about the awards this year.
So I'll talk about the Dyer Difference Award, which I think is important. Dyer Chevrolet, the Dyer Auto Group, gives away some impressive money, some gifts every month, and so the community is able to nominate a specific nonprofit to receive these funds and to be highlighted in the community for the good work that they do. And so at the Business Summit, last year we started it and we'll continue it this year, the Dyer Auto Group will present their May recipients in both Indian River and St. Lucie County. They'll do that at the Business Summit. And so we could recognize those groups accordingly. And of course, thank Dyer for being such a champion in our community with supporting the community and their good work.
I would like to add that they are always seeking nominations for nonprofits, and it's a very simple application process to nominate your nonprofit or a nonprofit that's close to your heart. And what's really cool is it's not the Dyers that are picking out the recipients of these awards, it's their employees.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. There's true involvement.
So Dyer, this is something they do regularly, not just at your summit.
No, they
monthly.
do it every month.
Monthly.
And so if people are interested, they could go to dyerdifference.org and they can see past recipients. There's the application process. And like Dana said, it's very simple and it's a rewarding opportunity for
So they're going to actually present the May awards at the summit.
Yes.
Okay, nice. And then I think you've got another award that you give out.
We do. We have the Trailblazer Award, and we started this award last year. I'll use the term, it was the brainchild of Mindy Fetterman.
Yes.
She is one of a kind and really thought that there should be an award. She came to us and said, we need to celebrate women and women in our community that have really paved the way for other women. And we were able to get quite a few nominations last year, and our recipients were amazing. Obviously, Jane Rowley was one of our recipients.
Right.
Kathy Post Insurance was not only our recipient, but she sponsored the awards, not even knowing she was going to be a recipient of the award. Sergeant Suzanne Woodward of the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Department, Rachel Trabulsy of United Way, formerly of Martin Health, and Kelly Owens, a county commissioner in Okeechobee. So all of these women in their own right have really just raised the bar. What we want to do this year and moving forward is present this award to one woman in each county, Martin, St. Lucie, Indian River, and Okeechobee, and then from that create a mentorship for up-and-coming women so that they can have someone they can lean on and talk to and get advice and just have that one-on-one time.
That's a great idea. Yeah, that's amazing.
It is. Kathy Post actually coined that the Pathfinder.
Gee, why am I surprised?
Pathfinder Trailblazer relationship.
Yeah.
So.
So again, talk a little bit about logistics of the show. Still space available? How does one get involved? How does one? And what is the date of the show? I don't even think we've mentioned the date. How far out are we?
So we are officially, I don't know how many days, but we are officially just over a month out. And the Business Summit is May 17th. It's a Thursday. And we scheduled the Business Summit to be on a Thursday intentionally because the history of the Business Summit, historically, it's always been on a Friday. And so when Dana and I acquired the Business Summit, we thought, I think businesses need a day to contact their contacts, to make contact with the individuals that they met. So moving it to a Thursday gives those businesses or those business professionals an opportunity to digest what they've learned, take those contacts, and then work their contacts on Friday before we go into a long weekend. And so it's May 17th at the Port St. Lucie Civic Center. There are booths still available. We're just over halfway sold out. We will sell out. We know we will. We do every year. And it's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then, of course, the cocktail hour, sponsored by Southern Eagle Distributing, will take place immediately after. And that's where we'll be giving out the Trailblazer Award. And
we'll also, Rachel Jocks, the recent recipient of Youth of the Year, she is going to speak at our cocktail hour to get a little bit of experience before she goes to state.
Now, is that the Boys and Girls Club?
Boys and Girls Club.
Yes. Okay. All right. I think she's going to be a guest one night on the show.
That sounds good.
Very
She's
nice.
an amazing
So do you
young
have
lady.
an award for Tom or anything? I mean,
Yeah.
anything
So-
left over that?
The Tom Kindred Award?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, just
Yeah,
like radio show personality of the
We are passing out some 8x10s.
Well, you're
Sure.
celebrating your 25th anniversary
True,
at the
Karen.
Summit.
Yep.
So,
Is that 25th wedding anniversary or 25th radio station anniversary?
Well, it's 25th anniversary of Carol and I landing on the Treasure Coast.
very nice.
Nice,
yeah,
nice,
from Los
nice.
Angeles. You bet.
Wow.
So you can have a meet and greet with Tom and Sue Ellen and your other hosts and some 8x10 glossies that
That's
we'll
right.
frame. And
I like that
Yeah,
idea.
we might
sure.
even do the morning show there. Who knows what's going to happen?
Oh, I like that. Tom,
Now,
I was going to say I do like the idea of potentially maybe having an Sbdc award from IRSC with a business that
Ooh.
has progressively come through some of your programs.
Wow.
Tell you,
Oh, I
the
love it.
ideas
Yes.
that come up on this
Yes.
show.
we are
I like
flowing
that.
tonight. That's
Whoa.
great.
The Sbdc Award. I like that.
He's
Hold on,
right-
taking
and
notes. Hold on.
and
taking
he's
notes.
writing. He's writing
I'm
it
writing
down
that
too.
down. Now, how does one just attend the show? You can buy a ticket, or do you have to buy a ticket, or you can just come to the door? Or?
It is open to the general public.
Okay.
You can get tickets in advance
Okay.
by visiting our website, which is tcbizsummit.com. And then if you are a chamber member, we do have a special complimentary offer for chamber members.
All right. And do you have any? I remember kind of last year you had some major sponsors of the event. Did you tell me who the sponsors are this year?
We have WPBF,
Okay.
which is coming on board again, and we're super excited. Felicia Rodriguez just celebrated her 20th year on air, and she'll be our Mistress of Ceremonies again. And I'll let Lynette go through some of our other sponsors.
We do. We have channel or WPBF TV 25, Peter W. Bush Foundation, the Ferris Group, and DLF, which are the founding partners, are always providing sponsorship. So we're very grateful to them for continuing that. We do have All Things Treasure Coast, of course, Trax Entertainment. We do have the Dyer Group, the Dyer Auto Group, Post Insurance, Express Printing, which I know supports the station as well.
Today we just brought on the Terrio Group, HCA, very pleased to have on
Wow.
board,
St. Lucie Mets, St. Lucie Schools,
EDC,
the EDC.
the Mets,
Yes. We have UBU Brands for promotional products.
Express Printing,
Yes.
which is one of your sponsors
One of our
today.
sponsors. Yes. Okay. Nice. All right. So we've got lots of sponsors. We've still got some spots available for those that want to exhibit.
Absolutely.
And give us a kind of an example of the typical exhibitor. Local business owner operator. that
Local
wants-
business owner operator. Some are franchise, some are just, I don't want to say just, but some
Right.
are local businesses, some are larger corporations. We have Bank of America as one of our sponsors
Okay.
coming on board. What's really nice and I think is unique about our summit in particular, 2 Men in a Truck is one of our sponsors, and they actually bring 4 men and no truck, and they move all the vendors in. So you just pull up in the circle, and they're going to move you in.
Jim and the gang are the best. We totally shocked them because we had a Christmas kids pickup at the Treasure Coast Food Bank, and huge pallets full of toys for the Christmas kids. And Jim said, "Yeah, we could do that," and they did.
They are awesome.
Picked them up, took them down to the county. Yeah, it was great.
Our vendors loved that last year because they could just move in and out quickly and efficiently. And then we had Treasure Coast High School, young entrepreneurs. They actually provide concierge service throughout the day.
Nice. Okay. And how does one get more information on the event? Have you guys got a website? I think you may have mentioned it, but
We do. So all the information is on the website at tcbizsummit.com. So tcbizsummit.com. There you'll find information about vendor booth, sponsorship opportunities, and then, of course, ticketing that Dana mentioned. We will take tickets at the door. You can purchase tickets at the door, and then all the area chambers, we've incentivized their membership, so they have a complimentary entry to the Business Summit.
Okay. So real quickly, let's just let's cover the high points again. Date?
May 17th,
May 17th. Location?
Port St. Lucie Civic Center,
All right. And it's going to run from
10 a.m. to 4 p.m., cocktail hour immediately following.
Okay. And you got, you'll have some workshops, seminars throughout the day through that 10 to 4 time period. When does Peter speak? When does your keynote speaker come on stage?
He'll speak about 10:45.
Okay.
And I would like to add something that we didn't mention. Historically, the Chamber has put together a luncheon, which is the equivalent to the State of the City that Mayor Oravac gives. And so Russ Blackburn, our city manager, will be presenting that at the summit, and it is a ticketed luncheon. So we've combined and partnered with the Chamber to bring that. It just made sense to bring all of that together.
Right. Okay. Nice. And I kind of want to end, as our show is always dedicated to, business and entrepreneurship. And you two are obviously experienced and seasoned entrepreneurs. Kind of give us, each of you kind of give us your thoughts, advice to that young entrepreneur that wants to get out there and get engaged and maybe start a business. Kind of tell us your advice for that young person.
My number one piece of advice would be to align yourself with a strong mentor in the community or a mentorship organization such as the Sbdc, and really allow other people to help you find your path, and don't think that you know everything, because learning is a lifelong process and there are so many steps along the way, and we continue to embrace that every day. And so I would suggest that.
Great advice. Great advice.
I think my advice would be, if you have a dream and you have a passion, certainly go for it, but make a plan. It's so important to have a business plan and follow it, and have someone that's going to keep you accountable to that plan.
Listen, excellent advice. Do we have that taped, Greg? I may replay that.
I think we need it.
Classes.
You and I both need that.
Great advice. All right. It is the 10th annual Treasure Coast Business Summit. Going to take place on May the 17th. At the Port St. Lucie Civic Center. Always a pleasure to have Dana and Lynette here, producers and of the Treasure Coast Business Summit. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. Look forward to the event, and we will make sure we get the word out on it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And we're going to get the word out about your event as well.
Thank you. We're going to talk about ours in just a minute. So with that, this is Startup Talk. I want you to stay tuned. We're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back with more.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
You're listening to WSTU Stewart.
And we are back. If you're just joining us, this is Startup Talk from the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute at Indian River State College. I'm Tom Kindred, Regional Director for the Florida Small Business Development Center at Indian River State College. And want to thank Dana.
Are they great or what?
Yeah, want to thank Dana and Lynette for coming and talking about the Treasure Coast Business Summit, a 10-year-old event along the Treasure Coast. Great business-to-business B2B event held down in Port St. Lucie. That'll be on May the 17th. And we've got with us now somebody near and dear to our program, our very own Patrice Koblitz, who is with the Florida Sbdc at Indian River State College. Patrice is a experienced and, again, well-seasoned marketing professional with many years of experience, and Patrice serves as the marketing specialist for the Florida Sbdc at IRSC. And we're going to talk about our 5th annual Entrepreneurship and Small Business Conference at the college. So welcome to the show, Patrice.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. So, again, we've got the Treasure Coast Business Summit is on the May the 17th. Our event is on May the 1st. which is part of the National Small Business Week, is it not?
Yes, it is. The National Small Business Week starts April 30 and continues until May 4th.
Nice. All right, this is our 5th annual. It's been a great event. We started this event a number of years ago, and the purpose for the event, primary purpose of the event was to really make sure that the business community was well advised of all the business resources and assistance programs available to them throughout the community, and the event has just continued to grow. So again, kind of fill us in, Patrice, on kind of what's happening. Got 2 great speakers this year for the event, so kind of fill us in on what's going on.
So, Tom, we have 2 excellent speakers. We have Jerry Parrish, who will open our opening session. He's the Chief Economist and Director of Research with the Florida Chamber Foundation. We also have Knight Kiplinger, who is our lunch keynote, and he is with Kiplinger Publications. Lots of business information there. And so we have a trending breakout sessions, Tom. We're covering everything from understanding business finances and profit and loss, cybersecurity for small businesses. The USPS will be there to discuss their Every Door Direct program. You know, we're going to be touching on the trends in HR. So really, the day is just jam-packed with some excellent informative sessions that any business and all small businesses really get engaged in.
Right. Now, the event will start kind of a little bit early in the morning, 7:30 to 8. We've got registration for the event. And then, of course,
There is an 8 o'clock in the morning?
there is an 8 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
I think your station functions at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Just
I've
not
heard
with
that.
you, I guess.
I have heard that.
Have you heard the morning show on your station, Greg?
Certainly I have. Come on.
All right, so it all starts at 7:30, and then keynote speaker Jerry Parrish, Dr. Parrish, starts at 8 o'clock. And Dr. Parrish was actually at last year's event. He spoke at lunch, and Greg has, for a year, talked about how impressed he was with Dr. Parrish's presentation.
Yeah, I've been advising at least 1,000 other businesses. Look at his Florida scorecard. Amazing.
Right.
Bullseye right here.
Right, all kinds of information about trends and all kinds of different issues. The transfer of wealth from county to county, I think, was one of the big highlights, and the growth of the counties. And I think, Greg, you mentioned before we went on the air tonight that you had recently looked at his scorecard again, and he had some predictions as far out as 2032.
He not only had, but Florida Trend Magazine took his study a step further and went out to, instead of 478, which I think was Dr. Parrish's Port St. Lucie study for 2028, pushed it out to 2032 and a population of 532,000 for Port St. Lucie. It's like, whoa.
So again, here's an opportunity for anyone in the business community. Come out on May the 1st. There's no charge for the event, and basically here the chief economist for the Florida Chamber Foundation talk about coming trends in the Florida economy, and then he breaks it down to the Treasure Coast.
And as he mentioned right here on Startup Talk last year, the only state economist in the United States. I think that is mind-boggling. Wow. Yeah.
So we go from Dr. Parrish's presentation in the morning at 8, and then again, Patrice, we've got multiple workshops throughout the day, kind of broken down, starting at about 9 o'clock all the way through 1 o'clock. The entire event wraps up at 2:30. So always one of our intentions with this event is not to take somebody out of the business for the entire day. You can be back into your office by about 2:45, 3 o'clock to wrap up your day. But again, kind of take us through some of these topics that will be held for these workshops, Patrice.
We'll be discussing. We have understanding business finance, which will manage your profit and loss and help businesses understand how to obviously manage their finances to increase profits, manage their inventory. We have cybersecurity for small businesses, and it's really to address risk, remediation, and insurance. because ultimately you do need a special rider, a cybersecurity rider, on your insurance plan in order to be covered. The art of government contracting, the ins and outs of government contracting. We have Turbocharge Your Team, which is the HR trends path. We have marketing and public relations. It's really just a lot of integral details that you'll be left with information to go home and tasks to actually execute. So you're not just coming here to learn, but you're going to walk away with some important things that you can do to make changes in your business right away, and to see changes right away.
Right, and again, the cybersecurity is. We've had great response. You've done that. We've held that seminar a couple of times already throughout the 4 counties. Correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and gotten good response. People really have left that seminar and that training saying, I've got to go back and do some things with the business. The government contracting workshop is just exceptional. If you're a business looking to grow your revenues, an excellent and effective and efficient way to grow those revenues is through government contracting. And Scotty Wilson is presenting that topic, and Scotty is the government procurement specialist with the Sbdc at IRSC.
Now, are the breakout sessions all in the Kite Center, or are they go over to the
all
Brown
in the Kite
Center?
Center.
As well?
Once you enter the Kite, you can go from class to class right there in the Kite Center, and it's one building. Turbocharge Your Team is going to be some what we call DISC training, and we've got a DISC certified trainer, Catherine Colhane, going to do that class. We've actually got Emily McHugh, who has been on the show a number of times. Emily just recently published a book, The Entrepreneurial Mindset, so she's going to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. So again, you're right, Patrice. A lot of awfully good seminars, trainings, and workshops for people to take advantage of. The main sponsor for our event is Bank of America. They've been with us for a couple of years now and really are very supportive of the event. And Kevin Staten and his team do a great job for us at the Florida Sbdc.
Absolutely. And it's just very important to remember that we have to have registration. Even though it's a no-cost event, we definitely need registration because we do have a continental breakfast and lunch, a full lunch.
That's right. Forgot about that.
So it's very important that we get those registrations in.
So, Greg, here's
free food.
Today.
I'm there.
Free food. Here's an event just for you and I, Greg. Free breakfast, free lunch.
Can't beat it. It's
how can you
catered.
beat that? Right. So, Patrice, tell us, how does one get registered for the event?
All right. Go to IRSCbiz.com. Click on the event calendar. Select May and click register here on the May 1st event. Again, it's IRSCbiz.com. Click on the event calendar and select May, the month of May, and click on the event.
Now, again, just as a quick reminder, we are limited in seating to this event. We've got to limit it to the number of seats in the room in the Kite Center, so it is limited seating. So I would suggest if you're interested in attending the event, I would get registered ASAP.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. We're already getting a lot of registrations every day.
Okay. So, Patrice, thank you for jumping on with us this evening and talking about the May 1st, the 5th Annual Entrepreneurship and Small Business Conference at Indian River State College, brought to you by the Florida Sbdc at IRSC. Going to be another great event this year. And with that, I want to thank everyone for tuning into another segment of Startup Talk. Thank our guests tonight, Dana Trabulsy and Lynette Marraffh, with the Treasure Coast Business Summit, and remind everybody that all the business assistance programs and resources discussed on this segment are available through IRSC's Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute. Remember, go to that IRSCbiz.com, that's IRSCbiz.com site for more information on all we do.
And how do people get in touch with you at the Sbdc?
Well, they get in touch with me at tkindred@irsc.edu, or they can dial the 462-7631 phone number. And we look forward to seeing everybody at the conference on May the 1st.
You've been listening to Startup Talk right here on WPSL, Port St. Lucie, WSTU, Stewart, WPSL TV.